The Galactic Confederation ship Harmony of Stars floated peacefully in the outer reaches of the Terulian system. Its blue-green hull gleamed under the distant sun. Inside the ship, Ambassador Zelnar stood on the command deck. His thin, 7-foot, tall body towered over the other Aquilarians. Their blue skin reflected the soft lights of the control panels. "Unknown vessel detected entering the system," said scan operator Milira. Her webbed fingers moved quickly across the holographic display. "The ship does not match any known design in our database." Ambassador Zelnar nodded calmly. This was not unusual. The galaxy was vast and new species discovered space travel regularly. "Send the standard greeting package," Zelnar ordered. "Let us welcome them properly to Confederation space." The communications officer sent the greeting. It contained basic information about the Galactic Confederation in several mathematical formats that any spacefaring race would understand. They waited. "They are responding," the communications officer announced. "The message is, it appears to be in a simple binary code. They call themselves humans from a planet called Earth. Their ship is named USS Neptune." "Excellent," Zelnar said. "Put them on the main screen." The large display at the front of the command deck flickered to life. The face of a human appeared. It had brownish skin, short dark hair on top of its head, and strange features that made the Aquilarians feel slightly uncomfortable. The proportions seemed wrong somehow. "This is Captain Alan Foster of the United Earth vessel USS Neptune," the human said. "We come in peace and wish to establish friendly relations with your people." Zelnar stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Zelnar of the Galactic Confederation. We welcome you to Terulian space. May we ask the purpose of your journey?" The human's face moved in a way that showed its teeth. The Aquilarians tensed slightly at this display, but they had studied many species and knew that showing teeth was not always a threat. "We are returning from a peacekeeping mission near our colony on Proxima Centauri B," Captain Foster explained. "We detected your system and decided to investigate. We are always eager to meet new civilizations." "This is most fortunate," Zelnar replied. "The Confederation values peaceful contact with emerging spacefaring races. With your permission, we would like to perform a standard scan of your vessel. This is normal procedure for first contact scenarios." On the screen, Captain Foster turned to speak with someone off-screen. A female human with light-colored hair leaned into view briefly. "That should be fine, Ambassador," Foster said after a moment. "Please proceed with your scan. We have nothing to hide." Zelnar nodded to the scan operators. "Begin the standard assessment. Scan." The scan operators activated their equipment. Soft humming filled the command deck as advanced sensors reached out toward the human ship. Data began to flow across their screens. "Initial hull composition analysis complete," reported Milira. "The outer shell contains several materials unknown to our database. The ship appears to be designed for both defensive and offensive capabilities." Zelnar was not concerned. Most species built their first interstellar ships with defensive capabilities. The galaxy could be dangerous. "Life form readings are coming in now," said another scan operator. His voice faltered. This can't be right." Zelnar moved to look at the screen. "What is the problem?" "Their life signs. The internal environment of their ship." The operator's voice trembled. "Ambassador, they're breathing nitrogen-oxygen mix at percentages that would be toxic to most known species." "That is unusual, but not unheard of," Zelnar said calmly. "There's more," the operator continued. "Their body temperature is nearly 310 Kelvin. They should be cooking from the inside." Now other scan operators were showing signs of distress. "Ambassador, their bones. There's solid calcium structures throughout their entire body, and their muscle density readings are off our charts. Their ship's artificial gravity is set to nearly twice the level considered comfortable for most Confederation species," added another operator. Zelnar felt a chill move through his body. He looked back at the screen where the human captain waited patiently. The creature looked so harmless, but the reading suggested otherwise. "Continue the scan," he ordered. "I want a complete assessment." As more data came in, the atmosphere on the command deck grew tense. The scan operators worked in shocked silence. Their medical facility contains equipment for physically cutting into bodies and reconnecting tissue, one whispered. They have chambers specifically designed to expose themselves to radiation. Their food storage contains the preserved flesh of other creatures, another reported with horror, and chemicals that would be deadly neurotoxins to us. They have a room where they deliberately subject themselves to physical stress and strain their muscles until they tear, a third added. It appears to be some kind of ritual chamber. Zelnar took a deep breath to steady himself. In his long career as a diplomat, he had encountered many strange species, but nothing like this. On the human ship, Captain Foster waited. Beside him stood Lieutenant Samantha Wells and Navigation Officer Chris Martinez. They're taking a long time with that. Scan, Martinez noted. Standard procedure probably, Foster replied. Remember, this is first contact for them too. Wells watched the aliens on their view screen. Her training in xenobiology helped her read their body language. Sir, I think something's wrong. They're showing signs of distress. On the harmony of stars, Zelnar composed himself and addressed the human again. Captain Foster, thank you for your patience. Our scan is complete. He tried to keep his voice steady. May I ask, what classification was your home planet? Foster looked confused. Classification? I'm not sure I understand. The environmental conditions of your world. How would you rate them? Oh, Foster smiled. Earth is a beautiful blue planet, mostly water, with diverse continental ecosystems. It can be harsh in places, but it's home. Zelnar nodded slowly. I see. And your species evolved there naturally? Of course, Foster replied. Where else would we come from? The command deck of the Harmony of Stars was now completely silent. The scan operators stared at their screens in disbelief. Captain Foster, Zelnar said carefully, the Confederation would be very interested in establishing further diplomatic relations with your people. However, I believe we should proceed with caution and proper protocols. Something in the ambassador's tone made Foster straighten slightly. Of course, Ambassador. We're happy to follow whatever protocols you deem necessary. We will transmit coordinates for a formal meeting, Zelnar said. In the meantime, please maintain your current position. The screen went dark as the transmission ended. Zelnar turned to his second-in-command. Send an urgent message to Confederation headquarters, he ordered. Inform them we have made contact with a species from what appears to be a Class 12 Deathworld. Request immediate diplomatic support. A Deathworld species? Gasped his second-in-command. But they've already reached space? Yes, Zelnar said, grimly. And they've built warships. As the Harmony of Stars crew rushed to prepare their report, the USS Neptune continued to wait, its human crew unaware that to the rest of the galaxy, they were the monsters that other species feared to meet. Among the stars. Back on Earth, the United Earth Defense Command headquarters buzzed with activity. The massive complex sat buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, protected from both natural disasters and potential attacks. Inside the central command room, Admiral William Carter studied the transmission from the USS Neptune. Play it again, he ordered, his gray eyes fixed on the large screen. The recording showed Captain Foster's conversation with the alien ambassador. Carter watched carefully as the alien's body language changed during the exchange. There, Carter pointed. Right after they completed their scan. See how the ambassador's posture changed? They found something that scared them. Beside him, Lieutenant Paul Davis nodded. As Earth's leading xenobiological expert, Davis had studied every alien species humans had encountered so far. Yes, sir. The Aquilarians are showing clear signs of stress. The way their skin color shifted to a paler blue and their gill flaps started to flutter, they were definitely alarmed. Admiral Carter sighed. It's happening again, just like with the Viridians and the Mox cluster. Deathworlder syndrome, Davis agreed. The Admiral turned to his staff. Get me a secure line to the President and contact Olivia Bennett. We need her on the next fast transport to the Neptune's position. As the staff rushed to obey, Carter led Davis to a quieter corner of the command center. For the newer staff, explain the situation. What exactly are we dealing with? Davis took a deep breath. Most spacefaring species in our galaxy evolved on what we would consider paradise worlds. Stable climates, low gravity, minimal environmental hazards, low radiation, and very little competition among species. Their bodies never needed to develop the kinds of defenses and adaptations that Earth life forms did. And where does Earth sit on that scale? Asked a young officer who had joined them. Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world, Davis said. One of the harshest known planets to produce intelligent life. Our gravity is crushing to most species. Our atmosphere contains elements they consider toxic. Our radiation levels from simple sunlight would give many species cancer within days. Admiral Carter nodded. And it's not just our planet. It's us. Humans. Yes, Davis continued. Our bodies are built to withstand incredible trauma by galactic standards. Our bones are solid and dense when most species have hollow or cartilaginous structures. Our skin can repair itself from wounds that would be fatal to others. We can survive extreme temperature ranges that would kill most aliens. The young officer looked confused. But we're not that tough. We get hurt all the time. By our standards, yes, Davis explained. But imagine a species that evolved on a world with no predators, no natural disasters, and mild weather. To them, we're practically indestructible monsters. Admiral Carter's communication device beeped. The president is ready, sir, an aide announced. Put her through to my office, Carter said. And what's the status on Bennett? Ambassador Bennett is boarding the transport now. She'll reach the Neptune in 14 hours. Carter nodded and headed to his office. Inside, he activated the secure screen. The face of President Morgan appeared. Admiral, what's the situation? Another first contact. Scenario where our Deathworlder status is causing complications, Madam President. The Galactic Confederation has made contact with the Neptune, performed a standard scan, and now they're keeping their distance. The President frowned. Have they made any hostile moves? No, ma'am. But they've requested a formal diplomatic meeting and called for reinforcements from their headquarters. I've dispatched Ambassador Bennett to handle the situation. Good choice. Bennett has a way with terrified aliens. The President smiled slightly. Keep me updated, Admiral. We can't afford another misunderstanding like the Proxima incident. As the call ended, Carter returned to the command center. The large display now showed several Confederation ships moving toward the Neptune's position. It's escalating, Davis said. They're gathering a fleet. On the USS Neptune, Captain Foster watched the approaching alien ships with growing concern. 7 vessels now, sir, reported Lieutenant Wells from her station. All maintaining distance, but they've formed a containment pattern around us. Foster frowned. Still no explanation for why they're treating us like we're dangerous? No, sir, said Communications Officer Grace Harrison. They're being very polite, but they insist we maintain position until their diplomatic team arrives. Navigation Officer Martinez studied the tactical display. Their ships aren't heavily armed. By our standards, Captain. I don't think they're planning to attack. No, Foster agreed. But they're definitely afraid of something. He tapped his command chair thoughtfully. Harrison, send another message to Earth. Update them on the situation and ask for advice. As Harrison prepared the message, Foster turned to Wells. What do you make of these aquilarians? Your xenobiology training might give us some insight. Lieutenant Wells considered the question. From what I observed, they evolved in a water environment. Their bodies are adapted for low gravity and likely low pressure. Their movements suggest they're not used to rapid changes or sudden stresses. So basically the opposite of humans, Foster noted. Yes, sir. We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every day. Earth has extreme weather, natural disasters, predators, diseases. Our bodies and minds are built to survive constant threats. Wells paused. To a species that never faced those challenges, we might seem terrifying. Foster finished her sentence. We might seem terrifying. The bridge fell silent as the crew considered this idea. Sir? Harrison broke the silence. Message from Earth. Ambassador Olivia Bennett is en route to our position. We're to maintain diplomatic relations and avoid any actions that might be perceived as threatening until she arrives. Foster nodded. Understood. All crew, Continue normal operations, but be extra careful around any communications or scans from the Confederation ships. We don't want to scare them more than we already have. On the Harmony of Stars, Ambassador Zelnar faced the emergency council that had gathered in the ship's conference room. Representatives from several Confederation species had arrived on the newly arrived vessels. The scan data has been verified, Zelnar told the assembled aliens. We are indeed dealing with a Class 12 Deathworld species. Murmurs of concern rippled through the room. How can such beings even exist? Asked a small furry representative from the Luvian species. Their evolutionary path is unlike anything we've encountered, Zelnar explained. Their homeworld forced them to develop extreme resilience. But what truly concerns me is not just their physical capabilities, but what we discovered about their ship. Security Chief Valzar, a tall Aquilarian with battle markings on his skin, activated a holographic display. The human vessel is designed for war. Their weapon systems, while currently inactive, could cause significant damage to our ships. Have they shown any hostile intent? Asked another representative. No, Zelnar admitted. They have been cooperative and peaceful. But can we trust creatures evolved from a world of constant violence? The council continued their debate as the human ship waited silently among the stars, its crew unaware of the fear they inspired simply by existing. Science Director Tilreen stood before the Confederation Council. Her slender blue fingers moved gracefully as she controlled the holographic display. The assembled representatives from 12 different species watched with growing unease. I will now present our complete findings from the scan of the human vessel, Tilreen announced. Her voice trembled slightly. What you are about to see may be disturbing. The first image appeared, a cross-section of the USS Neptune showing its life support systems. The humans maintain an internal atmosphere that contains nitrogen at 78% and oxygen at 21%, Tilreen explained. This mixture would be toxic to most Confederation species. Additionally, they allow carbon dioxide levels that we would consider dangerous. A Vesperi representative raised one of its 4 hands. The insectoid alien's compound eyes reflected the light of the display. How do they survive in such conditions? Their respiratory system has evolved specifically to process these gases, Tilreen answered. Their lungs can filter toxins that would kill most of us instantly. She changed the display to show human vital signs captured during the scan. Their average body temperature is 310 Kelvin, she continued. They maintain this temperature internally, regardless of external conditions. Their cardiovascular system, she paused, contains a red liquid carrying oxygen throughout their bodies. Red blood? Gasped a small furry representative. Like predator species? Yes, Tilreen confirmed. And their hearts can withstand incredible strain. Our scans detected that their normal resting heart rate would be considered dangerously elevated for most Confederation species. Ambassador Zelnar watched the reaction of the council members. Many showed signs of fear. Some seemed fascinated. None remained unmoved. Tilreen continued her presentation. The most concerning findings involve their skeletal and muscular systems. Human bones contain solid calcium structures. Their muscles can generate force that would tear apart the limbs of most species. The display changed to show the ship's medical bay. The images drew shocked murmurs from the council. Their medical facilities contain devices designed to physically cut into their bodies, Tilreen said. They use sharp metal tools to open their flesh, remove or repair damaged organs, and then close the wounds. They can survive procedures that would be fatal to any of us. Security Chief Valzar stood up. These beings evolved on a world of constant violence. Their bodies are designed to both inflict and endure extreme damage. I propose we classify them as a dangerous species and restrict their movements in Confederation space. Ambassador Zelnar spoke for the first time since the presentation began. I disagree. While the humans possess terrifying biological capabilities, they have shown no hostile intent. Their communications have been peaceful and respectful. That could be deception, Valzar argued. Tilreen changed the display again. This is their food storage area. The image showed the ship's galley and storage compartments. Packages of preserved meats, vegetables, and other foods line the shelves. The humans are omnivores, Tilreen explained. They consume both plant matter and animal flesh. Their digestive systems can process foods that would be poisonous to us. She highlighted several containers. These substances are particularly concerning. This dark liquid they call coffee contains stimulants that would cause heart failure in most species. This brown substance called chocolate contains compounds toxic to many life forms. And these beverages labeled alcohol are neurotoxins that the humans consume deliberately for their mind-altering effects. The council members exchanged worried glances. They poison themselves for pleasure? Asked a Nimbulon representative, their gaseous form swirling with distress. It appears so, Tilreen confirmed. Their livers can process toxins at rates unprecedented in the Confederation. What would kill us merely causes them temporary discomfort. Display changed again to show the ship's exercise room. Humans lifted heavy weights, ran on treadmills, and engaged in combat practice. This is perhaps the most disturbing discovery, Tilreen said. The humans deliberately damage their muscle tissue through these exercises so that it will heal stronger. They routinely subject themselves to physical stresses that would cripple most species. The final images showed the ship's emergency protocols and defense systems. Their ship is designed to continue functioning despite catastrophic damage, Tilreen explained. They have protocols for sealing off sections exposed to vacuum while crew members continue working. Their protective suits allow them to survive in environments that would kill instantly. She closed the display and faced the council. In conclusion, these humans are adapted to survive conditions that the Confederation classifies as lethal. Their physical capabilities exceed those of any known intelligent species. Their tolerance for pain, radiation, toxins, and physical trauma is beyond our comprehension. Silence fell over the council chamber. Finally, a elder Vesperi spoke. If they wish to harm us, could we stop them? Security Chief Valzar answered honestly. With sufficient numbers and advanced weapons, yes, but the cost would be high. Ambassador Zelnar raised his hand for attention. I propose we approach this situation differently. The humans have achieved space travel without destroying themselves. This suggests they have developed social structures that channel their natural capabilities toward cooperation rather than conflict. A predator species that has learned restraint? Asked a doubtful council member. Perhaps, Zelnar replied. Or perhaps they are protectors by nature. Consider that their first words to us were offers of peace. The debate continued among the council members. Some argued for containment or even preemptive strikes against human worlds. Others suggested careful diplomatic engagement. Meanwhile, on the USS Neptune, Captain Foster received word that Ambassador Bennett's transport had arrived. He went to the docking bay to meet her. Olivia Bennett was a tall woman with dark skin and gray hair cut short. Her eyes showed intelligence and calm determination. She had negotiated 4 previous first contact situations and was Earth's most experienced diplomat. Captain Foster, she greeted him with a firm handshake. I understand we've frightened our new neighbors. Foster nodded. They scanned us and have been keeping their distance ever since. They've called in reinforcements. 11. Ships now in a containment formation around us. Bennett smiled. It's the usual reaction. They've just discovered that the galaxy's monsters are real, and we're them. I don't understand, Foster admitted as they walked toward the bridge. We haven't threatened them in any way. It's not what we've done, Bennett explained. It's what we are. To most galactic species, humans are terrifying simply because of our biology. What we consider normal, they see as monstrous. They reached the bridge, where Lieutenant Wells provided an update. The Confederation has requested a formal meeting, Ambassador. They want to send representatives aboard our ship. Bennett raised her eyebrows. That's unusual. Typically, they want to meet on neutral ground. Should we agree? Foster asked. Yes, Bennett decided. This is actually good news. If they're willing to board our ship, they're at least open to understanding us better. She turned to Foster. Captain, please prepare for visitors, and brief your crew to be especially careful. No sudden movements, no loud noises, and for heaven's sake, No one eats meat in front of them. As the Neptune crew prepared for their guests on the Harmony of Stars, Ambassador Zelnar addressed the volunteers for the boarding party. "You are brave to undertake this mission," he told them. "Remember, observe everything but show no fear. The humans must not know how terrifying we find them. The future of peaceful relations depends on this first formal contact." The docking procedure between the Harmony of Stars shuttle and the USS Neptune took longer than usual. The alien craft moved with extreme caution, its pilots clearly nervous about approaching the human vessel. Captain Foster watched from the bridge as the small shuttle finally settled into the docking bay. "They're acting like we might explode at any moment," he remarked to Ambassador Bennett. "To them we might," Bennett replied. "Remember, everything about us is frightening to them. Our strength, our resilience, even our friendly gestures." Lieutenant Wells joined them at the view screen. The alien delegation includes 3 species: Aquilarians, Vesperi, and what appears to be a Nimbulon based on our limited database. "A good sign," Bennett noted. "Multiple species means the Confederation is taking this seriously." She straightened her formal diplomatic uniform. "Captain, shall we go meet our guests?" Foster nodded and led the way to the docking bay. He had selected a small reception team: himself, Bennett, Lieutenant Wells, for her xenobiology expertise, and Communications Officer Harrison to help with translations if needed. When they arrived, the airlock was just cycling open. The human team watched as the alien delegation emerged cautiously. Ambassador Zelnar led the group, followed by a tall, insect-like Vesperi with iridescent green exoskeleton and a swirling cloud of blue-purple gas contained in a transparent, environmental suit, the Nimbulon representative. Bennett stepped forward with a careful, measured pace. "Ambassador Zelnar, welcome aboard the USS Neptune. I am Ambassador Olivia Bennett, representing United Earth." The aliens wore small devices, attached near what appeared to be auditory organs. These translator units processed Bennett's words. After a brief delay, Zelnar responded. "Ambassador Bennett, thank you for your welcome. May I present Council Elder Zithva of the Vesperi Hives and Representative Glow of the Nimbulon Collective." The formal introductions continued with obvious tension. The aliens moved with extreme caution, their body language suggesting they were ready to flee at any moment. "We have prepared a tour of our vessel," Captain Foster said, "to help you understand more about humans and our way of life." The aliens exchanged glances and Zelnar nodded. "We would appreciate that, Captain." As the group moved through the corridors of the Neptune, Foster noticed how the aliens stayed far from the walls and jumped at normal ship sounds. The Vesperi, Elder Zithva, seemed especially nervous, its forearms constantly moving in what might be a defensive posture. Their first stop was the ship's observation lounge, a neutral space with comfortable seating and large windows showing the stars outside. Foster had deliberately chosen this location to start the tour, hoping to ease the aliens' obvious anxiety. "Please make yourselves comfortable," Bennett invited. The aliens carefully examined the human furniture before gingerly sitting down. The Nimbulon remained floating in its containment suit. "Before we continue," Bennett said, "I believe it would help if we addressed your concerns directly. Your scan of our vessel clearly alarmed you. May I ask what specifically you found disturbing?" Zelnar hesitated, then spoke. "Ambassador, your biology is unlike anything we have encountered before. Your species appears to have evolved in conditions that would be lethal to most intelligent life forms." "That is true," Bennett acknowledged. "Earth is what you would classify as a death world. High gravity, extreme temperature variations, dangerous radiation levels from our sun, aggressive life forms, and natural disasters shaped our evolution. Yet you speak of these conditions so calmly," Elder Zithva said, its voice translated into a clicking metallic sound. "As if surviving constant danger is normal." "For us it is normal," Bennett explained. "Just as your natural environments shaped your evolution, ours shaped ours." The tour continued to the medical bay. Dr. Susan Rivers greeted the delegation and explained some basic human medical procedures, carefully avoiding details that might further frighten their guests. Despite her caution, the aliens reacted with horror when they saw the surgical equipment. "You cut open your bodies to heal them?" The Nimbulon's gaseous form swirled in distress inside its containment suit. Its translated voice sounded shocked. "When necessary," Dr. Rivers confirmed. "Our bodies have remarkable healing abilities. We can recover from injuries that might seem devastating by your standards." As they left the medical bay, Engineer Frank Rodriguez was working in a nearby corridor. He accidentally dropped a heavy tool on his hand. The humans barely noticed when he winced and wiped a small drop of blood from a minor cut. But the alien delegation froze, staring at the tiny spot of red on Rodriguez's hand. "You are damaged," Elder Zithva exclaimed, compound eyes widening. "Your internal fluids are escaping." Rodriguez looked confused. "It's just a small cut. Sorry for the disturbance." Ambassador Bennett quickly intervened. "This is a minor injury for humans. Our skin will seal such small wounds within minutes." The aliens watched in fascination as Rodriguez applied a small bandage and continued working, as if nothing had happened. Their reaction made it clear that such resilience was unheard of among their species. The tour continued through various parts of the ship. In each location, ordinary human activities and capabilities seemed to both terrify and fascinate the alien visitors. When they passed the ship's gym and saw crew members lifting weights, the Vesperi Elder's antennae flattened against its head in shock. They deliberately strained their bodies to the breaking point, it whispered to Zelnar, and they do this routinely. The most difficult moment came when they reached the ship's mess hall. It was mealtime for some of the crew, and despite Bennett's earlier warning, Lieutenant Samantha Wells saw the aliens enter and approached with a friendly smile, holding her coffee mug. "Ambassador, Captain," she greeted them, then nodded politely to the aliens. She took a sip of her steaming coffee. The Nimbulon's gaseous form contracted violently inside its containment suit. Its translator emitted sounds of distress. "That human is consuming boiling liquid. Are its internal organs not being destroyed?" Wells looked startled. "It's just coffee. It's hot, but not boiling." Chef Lisa Gordon, seeing the diplomatic visitors, approached with a plate of freshly prepared food. "Would our guests care to sample some Earth cuisine? I've prepared a vegetable medley that should be compatible with most carbon-based life forms." Before Bennett could intervene, Gordon had offered the plate to Elder Zithva. The Vesperi stared at the steaming vegetables, its compound eyes reflecting countless images of the offered food. "The nutrients are still experiencing thermal breakdown," the Elder said, backing away. "And you intend to place this inside your body?" Captain Foster stepped in quickly. "Perhaps our guest would prefer to continue the tour. The engine room is our next stop." As they left the mess hall, Bennett whispered to Foster, "This is going better than I expected. At least no one's fainted yet." The words had barely left her mouth when they heard a commotion behind them. A crew member had entered the mess hall and was cutting into a steak. The Nimbulon representative Glue, who had lingered at the doorway, watched the red juice escape from the meat. Its gaseous form swirled violently, and then its containment suit dropped to the floor with a clang. "Representative Glue has entered emergency vapor stasis," Zelnar explained urgently. "It is their species' response to extreme shock." Foster looked at Bennett. The first formal meeting between humans and the Galactic Confederation was not going as smoothly as they had hoped. The diplomatic visit had not gone as planned. The unconscious Nimbulon had been carefully returned to the Harmony of Stars for recovery. Now Ambassador Bennett sat with Ambassador Zelnar and Elder Zithva in the Neptune's conference room. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife, an expression Bennett wisely kept to herself. "I apologize for the unfortunate incident," Bennett said. "We should have been more careful about exposing your delegation to our eating habits." Zelnar's blue skin had paled considerably during the tour. "No apology needed, Ambassador. We requested to see your ship as it truly is. We must face the reality of our differences if we are to establish relations." Elder Zithva's compound eyes reflected multiple images of the humans across the table. "Your species is remarkable. Terrifying, yes, but remarkable. You treat conditions that would kill most Confederation citizens as mere inconveniences. Captain, Foster entered the room with Lieutenant Wells. Ambassador, we've received a message from Confederation headquarters. More ships are on the way. Zelnar's gill flaps fluttered in what might have been embarrassment. A precautionary measure, I assure you. It feels more like a containment fleet, Foster observed. Many in the Confederation fear what they do not understand, Elder Zithva admitted. And humans are very difficult to understand for us. Bennett leaned forward. Then help us understand your perspective. What exactly makes humans so frightening to you? Zelnar and Zithva exchanged glances. After a moment, Zelnar spoke. Imagine encountering a species that can drink acid without harm, that can have limbs severed and survive, that deliberately exposes itself to radiation for pleasure, that consumes toxins for enjoyment, that can survive in environmental conditions that would kill your people in minutes. Zelnar paused. Now imagine that this species has built warships and is expanding into the galaxy. The conference room fell silent as the humans considered this perspective. We don't see ourselves that way, Foster said finally. We're just people, trying to survive and explore like anyone else. That is what we must determine, Elder Zithva said. Are humans predators to be contained, or potential allies to be welcomed? Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. Lieutenant Wells checked her communications device. Captain, we're receiving a distress call. A Vesperi colony transport is under attack by raiders in a nearby system. They're calling for any assistance. Elder Zithva rose quickly. A colony ship, with larvae and caregivers aboard? We must respond immediately. Captain Foster was already moving toward the door. Ambassador Bennett, please continue diplomatic discussions. Lieutenant Wells, set course for the distress call location, maximum speed. Zelnar looked confused. Captain, you intend to assist? This is a Confederation matter. Foster paused at the doorway. Someone's in trouble. That makes it everyone's matter. As Foster left for the bridge, Security Chief Valzar entered the conference room. He had remained on the Harmony of Stars during the tour, but now approached, with obvious concern. Ambassador Zelnar, the human vessel is powering its engines. Are they attempting to flee? No, Zelnar explained. They are responding to the Vesperi distress call. Valzar looked stunned. They are going to help? Why would they risk themselves for a species they barely know? Bennett smiled. Because that's what humans do. We're not just evolved to survive. Dangers. We're evolved to face them when necessary to help others. The Neptune jumped to faster-than-light travel, arriving at the scene of the attack in minutes. The Vesperi colony ship was a large bulbous vessel designed for transporting thousands of colonists. Several smaller angular ships with distinctive red markings surrounded it, firing weapons at its engines and life support systems. Krazik raiders, Elder Zithva said, anger evident in the clicking sounds beneath the translator's voice. Pirates who prey on helpless civilian vessels. On the bridge, Captain Foster assessed the situation quickly. Open a channel to the raiders, warn them to cease their attack immediately. The raiders ignored the warning. The Neptune moved closer, placing itself between the attackers and the damaged colony ship. They've hit the colony ship's life support, reported Lieutenant Martinez from the navigation station. The ship is venting atmosphere in multiple sections. Elder Zithva's antennae quivered in distress. There are 20,000 colonists aboard, including 8,000 larvae. If the life support fails completely, Foster made his decision. Target the raiders' weapon systems only. Fire when ready. The Neptune's advanced weapons made short work of the raiders' armaments. 2 of the pirate ships fled immediately. 3 others continued their attack, now focusing on the human vessel. Direct hit on our port side, reported Martinez. Minimal damage to outer hull. Return fire, Foster ordered. Disable their engines. As the Neptune engaged the raiders, Ambassador Bennett led Zelnar and Elder Zithva to the observation deck where they could watch the battle. Your ship is designed for combat, Zelnar observed. This is what we feared, your capacity for violence. Watch closely, Bennett suggested. See how we use that capacity. The Neptune disabled the remaining raiders without destroying them. Then, instead of pursuing the fleeing ships, Foster ordered the vessel alongside the damaged colony ship. What are they doing now? Sithva asked. Preparing rescue teams, Bennett explained. We're going to help the colonists. Zelnar watched in amazement as the Neptune's crew organized into emergency teams. Crew members donned environmental suits designed to let them function in the toxic-to-humans atmosphere of the Vesperi ship. They're going to enter our atmosphere, voluntarily, Zithva asked in disbelief. It contains elements fatal to their biology. The suits will protect them, Bennett said, though not perfectly and not for long. The rescue teams boarded the colony ship, led by Lieutenant Wells. Their helmet cameras transmitted images back to the Neptune, where Bennett and the alien representatives watched their progress. The interior of the Vesperi ship was chaotic. Damaged sections vented precious atmosphere. Injured Vesperi lay everywhere. The ship's internal gravity had failed, and many colonists floated helplessly in the corridors. The human rescue teams worked quickly, sealing breaches, restoring power to critical systems, and treating the injured. Their strength, terrifying, in other contexts allowed them to move debris that the Vesperi could not. Their resilience let them work in sections where radiation from damaged engines would have killed the insectoid aliens. In the most damaged section, Wells discovered a nursery chamber with hundreds of Vesperi larvae cut off by a collapsed bulkhead. The environmental systems there were failing rapidly. The temperature is dropping, Wells reported. The larvae won't survive much longer. Can we get them out? Foster asked over the communication link. Negative. The passage is blocked and we can't cut through without risking further structural collapse. Elder Zithva's antennae drooped. The larvae cannot be moved safely anyway. They require precise environmental conditions. Wells made a quick decision. I'm going to remove my environmental suit's heating unit and place it in the chamber. It should keep the temperature stable until we can restore the ship's systems, Lieutenant Foster warned. Without that heating unit, your suit will quickly drop to match the external temperature. You have maybe 20 minutes before hypothermia sets in. Understood, sir. That should be enough time. As the alien representatives watched, Wells removed a critical component from her suit and placed it in the nursery chamber. The larvae's vital signs, which had been fading, stabilized. She has sacrificed her protection, Zelnar said in wonder, for alien children she has never met. The rescue continued for hours. The human teams worked until the colony ship was stabilized, its critical systems restored, and its injured treated. When they finally returned to the Neptune, many showed signs of exposure to the alien atmosphere, skin rashes, respiratory distress, minor chemical burns. But not one complained. Lieutenant Wells was the last to return, her lips blue with cold, her movements slow from hypothermia. Yet she smiled as she reported to Captain Foster. All Vesperi larvae safe, sir. Mission accomplished. As the Neptune's medical team treated Wells and the other affected crew members, Ambassador Zelnar turned to Bennett. We have misjudged humans, he admitted. Yes, you are physically terrifying by our standards, but today we saw that same strength used to protect, not harm. Elder Zithva's antennae moved in a gesture of deep respect. The Vesperi will not forget this day. You risked yourselves for our children. There is no greater honor among our people. Later, as the Neptune prepared to depart, a message came from Confederation headquarters. Ambassador Bennett read it and smiled. It seems the Confederation Council has reviewed the incident. They're proposing a new classification for humans, not just Deathworlders but guardian species. They're offering Earth full membership in the Galactic Confederation. Captain Foster looked out at the stars, with the Confederation ships now arranged not in containment formation but as an honor guard. From monsters to guardians in one day, he said. Not bad for a bunch of scary humans. Ambassador Bennett smiled. The very things that made us terrifying, our strength, our resilience, our ability to endure pain and hardship, turned out to be our greatest gifts to offer the galaxy.